All right, so here we go. Hey guys, it's me, Mrs. Cummings, with a fever and a little delirious, but I'm going to go over our assignment for this week, just in case you have questions, and then also open up to you, please, if you have questions as you're working on this, to reach out. This is really the only thing we're working on this week, and I want for everybody to do well on it. So hold on a second, let me share my screen. Okay. Let's go over to the assignment and take a look at it. And I'm just going to walk you through it and walk you through that PowerPoint. Okay, so you'll notice in the newsfeed, I shared with you some citation tools. The first one is an actual add-on that you can add into your Google Docs. And what it does is it adds citations into your documents. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. I don't want that account. We'll just for the sake of examples, we'll go ahead and do that. So that's under add-ons. And then also, as you guys are working on your assignment, you'll notice that Google Docs just recently added a new tool under tools that is citations. So this will help you MLA add citation source. So if we go up here and we're saying it's a journal article, which we all should be worked at, and then we've accessed it through the Gale Information One file, which is an online database, then all we have to do is fill out these things and it will create your citation for you. So there's really no reason that you would have an incorrect citation, right? Pretty neat. So, so definitely use that tool, okay? So those are there. I also have included additional citation resources if you want to double check your citation, and then the link to the citation machine. If it were me, I would probably use the Google Doc one, because that way you kind of are setting yourself up with there's going to be no problems whatsoever. But let's take a look at this assignment. All right, so we are working on the annotated bibliography. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk us through the assignment. Okay, so this is due on Sunday by midnight. And annotated bibliography is going to give us an overview of research that you've conducted through your research process. So what I want for you to do is remember what we did on Friday, where we looked up articles in the Gale Academic One file. And we found scholarly sources. We found at least one article that we were going to work with. I want for you to find 2 more scholarly articles. If you already have used some scholarly sources in your previous posts, like your background post, then you could definitely use those. That's totally fine. But it does need to be scholarly sources, okay? And then what you're going to write is a concise 3 to 5 sentence summary of each source that identifies the argument or made point in the research findings, followed by 1 to 2 sentences that kind of assesses the source that says, hey, is it relevant for my research? Will I use this for my scholarly background post? So helpful reading strategies to help you identify the argument within your sources, to identify the thesis or research questions. So let's go ahead and look over at the Gale Academic One file. And the way I get there is I go to our high school webpage, and then I go to the Library Media Center, and I go to Research Resources, and then I click on Academic One file, okay? So as this comes up, I'll give it just a second. So the key for success is that you're going to do some scanning. You're going to do, I'm not asking you to read 3 scholarly articles, because that would probably not be very fun, and it would also take you a lot of time. So I want for you to kind of scan through these articles, and you're going to mine for the information that you need. The password is Elvis, maybe. That's lowercase e. All right, and so let's say that I'm doing my research. I'm doing my research on body image and self-esteem, okay? So my first article, we've already kind of talked about that, which was the study of the effect of family communication and function. I'm going to take a look at the factors affecting self-esteem, depression, and body image of pregnant women in a state hospital in Turkey. I'm just going to kind of take a look at this and see, is this a source that I maybe want to use? So remember, part of this is kind of exploring, doing some navigating, seeing if the source is going to be helpful for you. So body image, our body changes when we're pregnant, right? And so sometimes we have body images, like if, you've read my background post, I've had body image since I was a young person. But also if you imagine the change of life that happens when someone gets pregnant, their body changes. So maybe they have spent their whole entire life comfortable in their body, happy in their body, and now they have gained weight because obviously they're pregnant. So that could affect the way that a woman feels about herself. So if I'm going to use this article, then I'm going to kind of scan it and see, is this what I want to work with? So it says pregnancy is one of the most special life events in a woman's life. Okay, I scan that, yes. Then I see highlighted self-esteem reflects an overall person's subjective emotional evaluation of his own worth, confidence, and satisfaction in oneself. In published studies, self-esteem was found to be high in women and their partners with higher education, and in women who had a nuclear family, who were employed, had a planned pregnancy, and who had higher income, as well as women who are satisfied with their partners, were non-smokers, and who had high body image perception and a good emotional state, and are not exposed to violence. So I find that really interesting as a starting point, as a discussion point. So I might use this because I might use it as a contrast piece in my scholarly article. And that assignment I'm going to give to you guys tomorrow so that you can start thinking about that, like thinking about what do you want for your scholarly background post to say. But if I'm going to talk about how here are the factors that science has shown us lead to people being happier and more comfortable with their bodies, then I might want to use these facts. So I would continue scanning and I would read this entire introduction. I would read it in its entirety, and I take a couple of notes, or I use the highlight tool. So I might be like, okay, highlight this yellow and then say that these are the factors that result in a positive body image. And I would just paraphrase those, right? So if I was going to be working with this, and I'm just going to write a really quick paraphrase that, higher in women with higher education, planned pregnancy. So there are things that I can take out of here that don't have anything to do with pregnancy, right? Things that are about having more education or being in a stable relationship, or like the previous article I found that had a good family background. So that ends up being really important for a woman's self-esteem, which could then lead me to find a third article that talks about family dynamics or something like that figures in together. So then I would look and see what their methods were. So they did a cross-sectional, which means that they looked at a couple of different populations so that you can kind of have a mirror of the actual population. Cross-sectional study in Turkey in October of 2016. And then I would look for the number of people who had participated in it. And so they totally looked at 4,221 pregnant women. And if I have that number, then I'm going to feel like that is a really good cross-sectional study. So remember when we talked about if you only had like 3 pregnant women, that's not really enough to kind of say this is probably a good study, right? And so we see that the data method was a questionnaire. So I would be working to summarize all of this into one summary sentence. So in a study that was conducted in October 2016, we looked at 4,221 pregnant women through a 4-part questionnaire that asked questions about demographics, that asked questions about self-esteem, that asked questions about body image, and then and then the method. So they did this through face-to-face interviews, and that it took 40 minutes. So I would analyze all of that together and just make it into one sentence. And then I would look at the results. So I would scan this. I would see that that it ended up being that 94% met the criteria of the study, that the average age was 26 years old. And then we would kind of look through here and see what informations do we need to find. So it says this findings indicate the prevalence of antenatal depression. So meaning during or pre-pregnancy depression varied in women with different cultural background. And then it said that there was no significant relationship between the body confidence score and employment and education, but there was a correlation between employment status of their husbands, which is kind of interesting. So I would just kind of scan through here and see. Now, if I've gotten this far in my article, then I would use this article. I would write an annotation of it. I could still say that while I found that the study was really interesting and I got some interesting information about it, I decided that I ultimately was not going to use the study for my annotated bibliography. So let's take a look at how I wrote an annotation so you can kind of see what that looks like. So I did this in Mla format, right? This kind of, you can cheat sheet, you can steal all of this and just enter your own information, double space, Mla style header. I have a title. And then the weird thing about annotated bibliographies is that everything is indented in plus that first indentation. So this is a method that you want to follow. So it starts out with my citation, right, in Mla format. And then I give an overview of the article based on what I read in the article. So it provides the results of a cross-sectional study of 173 obese high school girls with findings that young women in supportive family households were less likely to suffer from depression and a decreased sense of self-worth. So I kind of took all of the study and the findings and combined them all in together into one sentence. You can do this in 1 to 2 sentences if you wanted to. The author suggests that therapeutic support can come from encouraging family members to be more supportive of a child and her physical form, resulting in positive self-esteem and increased sense of well-being. The author, since there was plural authors, I can use the last name of the author with et al., which means all the other people, which I just have a typo there. Argue that the family is the first place where a child learns behaviors and attitudes that will translate to how they see themselves and how others see them. And therefore, a positive relationship with family is key. Excuse me. I found this resource to be helpful when informing my solution because it offers a practical way that families can offer support and that body image issues can be addressed at home before the child attends school or is exposed to the burden of societal norms. I plan to use this article for my scholarly background post. So I just kind of consolidated what the findings were, and then I made my own judgments, my own assessments about what I would use this for, right? Okay, so let's take a look at my annotated bibliography PowerPoint and just kind of touch on the highlights. And of course, while you're working on this, if you have questions, if you're not sure if you like a source or if you're sure that you want to use a source, then ask me and I will help you, okay? Don't feel like you can't ask me questions just because I'm sick. I'm here to help you. So you're going to find 3 scholarly sources. This is in addition to the one this is not in addition to the one you already found. So 3 total. So you found one Friday. Now you're going to add 2 more. I want for you to skim read each source and then write your annotations. This just restates what I said in the assignments. So 3 to 5 sentences, it's concise summary, and then 1 to 2 sentences assessing its value or relevance to your research. If you only write 2 sentences, then that's not going to grant you the full credit that you deserve. So make sure that you follow these directions and that you write a minimum of 3 sentences summary, and then at least 1 sentence that says if you're going to be able to use this for your research. Each annotation is going to begin with your citation in MLA format. You want to make sure, I want to tell you that the citation format that comes from the citation on generator on the Gale is incorrect. It actually puts it in an APA format, so you don't want to use that. Use that Google document one that I just showed you. And when you put these into your document, you're going to do them in alphabetical order. So you'll do them by alphabetical order by the author's name. So you'll have 3 sources, full annotation. So it'll be MLA citation at the top, and then you'll have the annotation itself, and then the next annotation, and I'll show you an example of that really quickly so you can see. All right, and you can Google MLA citation, annotated bibliography examples, and kind of see multiple ones here, right? Okay, so you'll see here's an example here of where it has the citation, and then it has the annotation there, and it's in alphabetical order. Okay, citation, indentation with the citation, with the way that the annotated bibliography is going to be citation, annotation. Okay, so you want it to, this is not a correct format. The margins are way off. This is correct format. Okay, annotated bibliography, author, and then I skip into a new paragraph, but if you want to just continue from there on, you can do that. Okay. Those are all really great examples of the ways that this can look. All right, so I kind of talk to you about where the author name should be, give you a correct MLA citation format so that you can see that. And then some helpful tools. So remember, identify the thesis or research question. This is going to be in either the introduction or the conclusion. It also might be in the very first part, the abstract. Look for repetition and key terms or ideas, and make note of these and see what the author does with them. How is the text laid out? What are the divisions? I can help you understand the author's intentions. It can even give you inspiration for how to organize your scholarly research post. Pay attention to the opening of the sentences of each paragraph. That's where authors often make their main points. And then look for paragraphs that summarize the argument. Okay, so I give you an example here of my annotation. And then when you assess the value, you want to think, does this make you want to explore deeper? Does it inform your solution or what you think that the solution is? Or do you not really see the value in it? So it's okay to get through an annotation and say, again, just to reiterate, that you aren't going to use that for your scholarly research post. All right, those are the main highlights of this assignment. Again, I've given you, here is an example there. You have until Sunday, October 25th to complete your annotated bibliography. You will then have until Friday, October 30th to complete your scholarly research post. So remember what I said, I'm really working hard on making sure that you guys can meet these deadlines and that you have a lot of opportunities to earn some good grades before this semester ends. If you don't turn things in on time, the grade is going to be a 0. I'm giving you more than enough time to complete these assignments. And I've been pretty lenient on this, but it's not, again, I know I keep reiterating this, but it needs to be restated that it's not doing you a favor if I let you think it's okay to not turn things in on time and have that not affect your grade. Excuse me. So it's really important that you get things turned in. And if you have a real, true extenuating circumstance, that you reach out to me in advance before the assignment is due. Don't contact me after the assignment is due. I need to see that you are being responsible for your work. This is really, really important, guys. All right, so ask me questions if you have them. I'm here to help, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.